Now to Scott Russell and Jack Saskill for cross country.
Well, Scott, a great day at the Snow Harp Nordic site at Hakkabah. You take a look at the start-finish area. This is the women's 2.5-kilometer cross-country race on day 4 of the games. The crowd arriving in big numbers. The fan support for the Paralympics has been outstanding in Japan. Heavy preparation and intense training are required on the trails at Snow Harp. It makes this one of the most demanding and technical sports at any international gathering. Here's Canadian athlete Shauna Rahanen to explain the sit ski.
One of the neat things about cross-country skiing is that it's for everyone, for people with abilities and for people with disabilities. For myself, I have a spinal cord injury, and so I can't use my legs the way that I used to. For me to cross-country ski, I use a sit sled. And this sit sled, the front of the sit sled, I can put my feet in, I can strap my feet in so that they don't fall out. For the back of the sit sled, this is where I sit. I have a strap. Then it goes around my legs, so again, that I can't fall out of my sled while I'm going up hills and going down hills and competing and having a really great time in the winter. For my sled, I don't have a back on my sit sled. And the reason for this is so that I can use my abdominal muscles while I'm skiing. For a person, though, with a higher level of injury, they do have a back on the sit sled, and this enables them to ski at a really good high level of competition, but not fall out of the sled and still to go out there and to enjoy the winter. For the rest of our equipment, it's exactly the same as cross-country skiing for able-bodied. Our skis are determined, the length is determined when we're skiing by the snow conditions and also the length of the person. Our binding system is exactly the same thing. It comes out and then pops right back in so that we can change skis right before our competition. Our ski poles, our racing ski poles, exact same thing as the people in the Olympics use. For myself, I've just cut these ski poles down to size so that I can use these ski poles to the best of my abilities while I'm out there racing and having a good time for the whole winter.
All right, Shauna, big enthusiastic crowd under brilliant sunshine for the women's 2.5-kilometer cross-country race. Going to get a chance to see a real Canadian star, Colette Bourgogne of Porcupine Plains, Saskatchewan.
Well, Colette has also been a medalist in wheelchair competition in Atlanta in 1996. She's very strong upper body. She's a very good skier, but here's her main competitor, Ragnhild Myklebust, who we saw in biathlon before.
54 years old and a grandmother, she won the gold medal at 7.5 kilometers. Look at this cornering ability. It's quite technical.
All of the courses at Hakkabah have very twisty, turny downhills, and you have to lean over to the inside and put your hand down, much like a motorcycle racer will put their knee down.
Midway through the race, Colette Bourgogne of Saskatchewan. She's an elementary school teacher, 36 years old, was 6th in this race in 92 in Albertville, climbed to 4th at Lillehammer in 1994, and appears to be on her way up. Here's another Canadian, Shauna Rahanen of Cold Lake, Alberta, 30 years old, and she was 8th in the 7.5K biathlon.
Shauna's strength was shooting. She's in the cross country because she is a good skier as well. She's not as good as Colette has been over the last year or so, but she's trying very hard to be in the top 10.
Using that sled ski that she talked about, and here is Bourgogne now coming to the finish line. Her arm speed is increasing as she pulls to the finish line.
And she's sprinting as hard as she can. She knows she has a medal in sight if she can just finish strong. Myklebust has been very strong in all of the events. The question is whether or not Colette has a silver or a bronze.
That 12-minute time will be adjusted to 10:36.8 for Colette Bourgogne of Saskatchewan. Meantime, here is the front runner, Myklebust of Norway. Across the line, the Japanese fans appreciate her efforts. 9:22.6 to win this event handily.
And this is a time that would be good in many cross-country events.
Great result for Canada here. The Norwegian Myklebust wins gold again, but Saskatchewan's Colette Bourgogne picks up the silver. Ukraine's Trifonova is 3rd. Shauna Rahanen of Canada, another top 10 finish. On to the 5-kilometer classical in the standing position as opposed to sit ski. Lorraine Kelly of Edmonton, Alberta finished 13th in the race, aided as always by her guide, Brent Curry of the University of Waterloo Ski Club, as he leads her on over the course at Snow Harp. And there's Brita Hall of Winnipeg, Manitoba, 28 years old. She's competing in the race for intellectually disabled skiers. and she gets across the finish line. Good crowd here at Snow Harp to see the Nordic events at these Paralympic Games. Also competing is Jason Robinson of Flin Flon, Manitoba, home of the Hockey Bombers. Jason was 23rd in his 5-kilometer classical race. Just 21 years old, a silver medalist in 1997 at the Special Olympics in Collingwood, Ontario. Another Manitoban, 40-year-old Wayne Bausch of Brandon, a silver medalist at the Lillehammer Paralympics at the 10K distance, and he also competed well here in Nagano. Big day for Colette Bourgogne of Porcupine Plain with a silver medal in the women's 2.5-kilometer sit ski.
Well, this is the first one, and it's going home to Pat Prokopchik, the person that started me with cross-country skiing. And we had a great team from Saskatchewan, and this just doesn't belong to me. I feel it belongs a lot to Pat and Jeff and Larry and Casper and everybody at home, so that's where it's going.
An outstanding effort by Canada's Colette Bourgogne on the board, a silver medal in cross-country. So through 4 days at the Paralympics, quite a battle in the medals race. Japan right there with Germany just behind Norway thanks to a pile of medals in sledge racing. Canada is on the board with its first 2 medals, silver as you just saw in cross-country, bronze in alpine. And Jeff, as we watch the cross-country, there is a big issue that has arisen at these Paralympics, and that's concerning the inclusion for the first time of athletes with intellectual disabilities.
And this issue has really come to the forefront because this is the first games that these athletes are competing for full medal status. And it really has divided the athletes quite radically. On the one side, there are athletes who believe wholeheartedly that these athletes deserve a place at the Paralympics as a part of the Paralympic family, that anybody deserves a chance to compete at a high level. On the other side, there are athletes who believe that to compete at a high level requires high mental ability. There's a psychological component to sport, and that these athletes don't satisfy that requirement. And it continues to be a problem in the Paralympic family.
And the North American athletes in particular feeling that these athletes belong at the Special Olympics, which is a very well-developed program for them.
And one of the big problems is with these athletes is that there's a problem with the classification system. Nobody seems to be able to put their thumb on the requirements and what it takes to be classified as an athlete with an intellectual disability.
So the issue continues to evolve. We'll see how it plays out in anticipation of the year 2000 in Sydney.